Oh, hey there. It's Dave from DQ Studios. Today we're going to take a look at the Zhiyun 5-ray M20C little RGB light. And you're looking at it right up here. It is my rim hair light right now. And it's got an app for that, of course, and it connects super fast. If I turn this off, it's actually making quite a big difference paired up to my big Aputure light here. So why should you trust me? I don't really care about the brand of light that I'm using. I own Aputure, Amaran, Godox, as well as Intelitech lights, and now Zhiyun. What I do love is the quality of light, although I don't care about the brand of light. And now I've slowly switched all of my lights to RGB. Why? So that I can match existing light and also have the power to add accent lights of any color. It just is the future. Full disclosure, Zhiyun sent me the M20C at no charge, but also with no strings attached. So I can say what I want and they don't get to see this review before it gets posted. As always, I'm gonna have links and descriptions and a table of contents below that you can click on to get to the part that matters most to you. Let's take a look at the build quality of this little cube. First of all, you'll notice that it comes with a whole bunch of attachment points, but you can take the light itself out of the cage. Just release this catch and ta-da! We've got this tiny little light, which is a cube, and it's just got the battery, an integrated fan in the all plastic chassis, two buttons that are also knobs, as well as the USB-C power input. More on this later because it's a great addition. Now, in use, you can't really mount this to anything because there are no mounting points, whether they're 4-inch 20 or hot shoes on it. So you will need to put it back into the cage. Thankfully, the cage is actually kind of awesome. It's got a hot shoe on all 4 sides. And then also this bottom hot shoe also has a 1/4-inch 20. What this means is that you can daisy chain multiple MC20s to grow a whole panel of lights for more power and more flexibility. The back of the cage has silicone protection and magnets underneath, so you can just plop this wherever you find a magnetic surface. The cage is necessary to use the light modifiers they include, which include a diffuser, a little grid, as well as barn doors. And what's cool about these is that they're not just gimmicky little add-ons, they do allow you to shape and control light, as we're gonna see in a little bit, where I use this as my main key light, and the barn doors come in clutch. At the top, you'll notice a USB-C PD input. Now this is awesome because not only do you charge it via the USB-C PD input, but you can also power it indefinitely. I've left this on for half a day at full power and it worked flawlessly. One thing you should note is that it draws slightly more than 20 watts, even though it's called the M20C, because not only can this power indefinitely, it can charge a depleted battery while it's on. So that's great news. It's not the most intuitive user interface with 2 buttons that are also dials, but once you get used to it, it's easy enough to remember. To turn it on, we press once short on the left button and then hold it for a long, and then it turns on after a little bit. Once it turns itself on, then you can control the power of it with this dial, or you can also jump from 0 to 50 to 100% and back to 0, and it cycles through, and fine control in 1% increments with the dial. From there, we can use the dial on the left to control the different parameters, to change parameters, and then use the dial or press it in as a button to go to different presets. Pretty easy, pretty fast to use. Press the left button once quickly, and it goes into HSI mode, and then it switches to RGB mode. Then you've got different effects, a whole bunch. This is candle, but you've got from fire to police to everything else, the joys of RGB. It's also got this really cute light display that matches music. So whenever I talk here, it's trying to match me, which is kind of bizarre and interesting at the same time. From there, it goes back to your settings, and then we cycle back to the beginning from dimmer and OCT. I should also note that it has the green and magenta shift option in here. So as your LED ages, you can compensate for that as well. Awesome. So what are some of the uses for the M20C? Right in the box, it says fill light, and I could see this being a great fill light for on camera. It's not too heavy, not too bulky, and throws quite a bit of light that it could be even a fill light in full out sun without an issue. I also love that it is full RGB, so you can match any existing light to accent or contrast it. The other nice thing is that, as you've seen in the beginning, that this makes a great edge hair light. Because it's so light and can be controlled via the app very easily, it's easy to put it in high places that are hard to reach and give you a little bit pop of light. At maximum brightness, this thing packs a punch, quite a wallop actually. And although it's not going to be used for a key light for most people, it can in a pinch. Let's see what this thing can do. So here I've got the light plugged into a power supply from battery, and I'm going to put it behind this cheap piece of diffusion. This was $13.99 Canadian, which is pretty much free in Americano dollars. And I've folded it over twice. And when I put this behind it, you'll notice that it does spill a little bit, but I can control that with the barn doors to keep the spill off of the ceiling, the background, and the camera. Let's go back on this side, turn off our main light, and see what we get. This is the same exposure that we had with the big COB light from Aputure. But with our cameras now that can see in the dark, let's see what happens when exposed properly here. And look at that quality of light. It's actually really, really impressive. What's amazing is that this little light can pump out a light source that's about 3 foot by 3 foot wide. And yes, I've got a double diffuse. I could make it a little bit brighter if I only had one layer of diffusion, but it's such a soft light source for a tiny light. That's amazing. I've sung its praises, so what are some of the cons? The biggest con to me is going to be the volume of the fan. And I'm gonna stand right next to it so you can hear it. The good news is that most AI or machine learning software for audio that is included into most editing software can remove this sound very easily. But it is quite noisy, so if your sound source is going to be needing to be recorded close to a light source, this may not be the light for you. The second negative is going to be the way the USB-C power cycles the light on and off. Whenever you unplug or plug in a power source, this light will cycle off and then on again. So as soon as I plug in a power source, it's going to turn the light off and then back on, which will interrupt any shooting that you're doing. It would have been nice if they implemented an always on source, but I do love the fact that we can continuously power this, and I've seen on my meter, it goes up to 27 watts of power it draws, but you can power it and charge the battery indefinitely, which is a great thing. So who is this light for? I wished for more power for my MC, but I didn't want to upgrade to the MC Pro because I still saw a lot of the shortcomings of the MC in it. But I also got the MT Pro, which is the tube light that's about 1 foot. And while it's great, it doesn't throw light very far. This kind of combines both the MT and the MC. It's about as small as the MC, a little bit bigger, a little bit chunkier, but it throws light a lot further than even the MC Pro or the MT Pro could. So in a pinch, this is going to be amazing as far as a new light in my arsenal. At the end of the day, there's a lot of great lights out there, and Zhyun's new M20C is one of them. It's a great time to be a filmmaker. If you're looking for a little light that's full RGB, packs a punch, and is really versatile, then definitely check out the Zhyun M20C. I highly recommend it. That concludes the video, but before I let you go, I do have a thought of the day. And the thought of the day is this: do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. Thanks, Maya. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.